Welcome to the Create Your Holistic Lifestyle Show. Discover with us and enjoy our holistic resources. Join us weekly on Wednesdays for our live talk show discussing the topics central to maintaining the holistic lifestyle you want. Each week we bring on leaders, product providers, and educators to enlighten and empower your natural journey in wellness. Let us begin.
Well, welcome everybody and good morning or afternoon, depending on where you're calling from. This is the Create Your Holistic Lifestyle Show, and we're so happy you could join us. As you can hear, I am not the host, Johnathan. He actually can't be here today, so I am taking over. And we're here, of course, with our lovely staff, or the lovely people who co-host with us, Dr. Brookh and Dr. Rabb. Dr. Brookh, tell me how you've been doing and how you've been.
Yeah, no, life is good. We're finally starting to open pools and stuff like that out here, so the weather is getting better, which is just so good for our health to have this. I don't know. Spring is nice. It's good for us. We need this, having been in snow. You know what that is.
I know a lot about snow, absolutely. And I think the last time we spoke, you were opening up a new clinic.
Yeah, a new branch of our clinic anyway. We just, from the very beginning, because I always saw babies and children, you only see a couple of little babies, and then it's really the parents that we start to, who we're having the conversations with. And I started realizing how much the stress the moms are and just don't feel good about themselves. And they would bring their kids in, having tried every medication or surgery possible. And then they would call themselves a bad mom. And I'm like, geez, we do the best we can, And so it naturally moved me into weight loss because on my own weight loss journey, with menopause and having kids, and it just changes our body. And it doesn't matter how much we know, things change. And there's so many myths and all that out there. So yeah, at the end of February, I opened a new branch of our clinic, which has been, it's just thriving. I'm so thrilled. But from your own clients, people think they want to lose weight, but that's not the best parts about this. Right?
Absolutely.
It's what they regain, for their lives. Like I can walk up steps again, or, people, one woman yesterday said, she goes, my kids haven't said anything, but I'm definitely less crabby. Well, I think that's a huge win,
So for everybody involved.
Exactly. It's, we call it weight transformation beyond weight loss, because that's what it is. When we feel better, we just do better. We're not so stressed out.
Yeah, I always say, people, when they come into my clinic, they say, I want to lose weight so I can be healthy. And I kind of say to them, no, you have to get the body healthy before it's actually going to release the weight and you're going to shed it. So whenever you get into that weight loss from a health perspective, when you are doing it in the right way, you will, of course, rebalance the body. So you get that health back, that vibrant energy and that rebalance. So yeah, you're going to see.
It's so astounding, too, the things that people do in the name of losing weight. Like, my heart breaks almost every day about this, because the stories are horrific. What people are doing for weight loss, it's not healthy. It's just, we're doing a lot of unhealthy things. Not in my clinic, but none of yours either. But in general, we as a society.
Yeah, we've got some crazy myths out there, like, calories, like complete myth.
This whole deficit thing, I just thought, and I'm trying to capture, because I just want to keep in my mind what other people are teaching people, like in the fitness industry especially. They're still on this calorie deficit thing. And no, it's not a full picture there. But
I saw a little meme once that said calories, definition, little tiny creatures who come into your closet at night and sew your clothes tighter.
What? I don't know what you mean. So true.
Hello.
True.
Hey, Dr. Rabb, how are you?
Yeah. Guys, I'm fine, but I've got a kind of a crisis going on now, so I'm going to have to step away. And I hate to do this to you guys, but it's very important that I go take care of this matter.
Absolutely. Well, you're in our thoughts, and I hope that whatever the crisis is, that it resolves in the best, most possible way.
Thank you very much.
But can you just say peace and love before you leave?
Peace and love, ladies. Peace and love.
Thank you. Good luck.
Okay.
Well, I'm really excited today for our guest. We're going to bring her on after, of course, our first break. But this is someone that is like my sister, and I can't wait to share everything about her. I actually met her when I was traveling through Egypt, and she was my roommate. And so we did this fantastic trip through Egypt together, and I'm sure we will get talking all about that. But definitely on a day like today, where it's absolutely stunningly beautiful, and we're reminded of how gorgeous and miraculous life is, it's really great to again be reminded of all the gifts. Dr. Brookh, tell me a little bit about some of the gifts and miracles in your life right now.
Oh, I love that. That's a great thought. You know, one of the gifts is somebody I know named Kim, and she always reminds me to not push anything. I think we used to do that a lot. And the meanings of things have changed. And I think that's a gift, because I was just posting something today. My grandpa used to say, the harder I work, the luckier I got. And work is different now. The way we approach things is different. And the gift is that we have the time to process what that means for us. And so while his work was work all day long, work hard, like it was different kinds of work, mine is more sit back and listen and move forward as I see as the next step, and just see how that goes. Kind of Forrest Gumping more.
You know, I'll actually reframe that, because that's something that I've noticed. You need it's the balance of masculine and feminine in the workflow and in the workspace. And so the divine masculine way of work is that striving, working hard, the hunter. I'm going to go out, I'm going to make this happen. And you do need a certain amount of that. But the divine feminine way is, I'm going to attract this to me. I'm going to sit
right, but you
here.
have to do the steps and the work to get there.
Absolutely, you do. Yeah. So just being in that flow and just allowing life to unfold before you, when you pair that with with the masculine tasks, you get the best of both worlds, and that, I find, is where the magic happens.
I absolutely agree. We can't just wish things to happen. Maybe it happens that way sometimes, but that's not the norm. So it's this balance. I love that too. And what business, like what family, it's great to have, all the men and women, and coming together with our different ways and thoughts. I feel like that for my business too, because there's some things that are, I don't know. I guess I don't know. I love this question. I'm going to have to process it a little bit more.
Absolutely. And so when you think about, okay, I'm going to pick up the phone, I'm going to make a call, I'm going to do that, that sales thing, and take those actions in my day to schedule things, like that's a very more of that divine masculine way of being in business. But I have a really good mentor who we interviewed on this show, Mark Von Musser, who really always talks about the first thing that he does in the morning before he even gets out of bed is he does his gratitude practice. And he starts just saying, I'm so grateful for, and he just goes through this huge list. I'm so grateful for, my bed. I'm so grateful for my family. I'm so grateful for, this wonderful day. I'm so grateful for it. And by starting that day off, he said, when he really started to become successful, when he started to get into gratitude. And that gratitude practice, the vision boards, for me, the vision PowerPoint, because that's just my personality. All of those things are the way of dreaming and creating and birthing into existence the business and the life that you want. And I think that's the divine feminine, which is just so beautiful to pair together. I think you need them both.
I really do too. Yeah. So I was just talking to somebody about that gratitude, waking up. I wake up every morning, and for about 12 years now, I wake up and I start by thanking for my body, like just that I get this body to do this vehicle that I get to do this life in. But I was telling somebody yesterday, because we were talking about this, and I was saying I had to put a sticky note on my ceiling because I would wake up and then I'd start my day and go, darn it, I forgot again. Because we were trying to come up with a way for her, because she's like, I've always wanted to do that, but I can never seem to remember. And so I told her that story. It was a sticky note at first, and then it was tape, because the sticky note, gravity is a thing. So I don't know if she's done it, but yeah, I needed a reminder. But now, probably 12 years, it's been my normal way.
Yeah,
it feels good to start that way. Is that your practice in the morning?
I definitely have a gratitude practice, and that's shifted a little to an awe practice because I just moved. That's why I wasn't able to be here last week. And the view that I have looks right out onto the Toronto skyline. And so so I get to watch the sunrise in the morning and watch all the splendor and the spectacular colors. And this morning, I was just in awe of how beautiful the sky was as the sun was rising. And it was just the colors as they changed. And I was like, it can't get more beautiful. And then the next second, the next minute, there's something even more beautiful. And it's like the last couple of days where I've been in my new space, I'm like, oh my gosh, it can't get more beautiful than this. This has got to be the best sunrise. And then it does. It gets better every time. And it's just...
That's exciting. That's so exciting.
It is. And then I was just like, I just want to stay here. I could just sit and look out the window. I feel like I'm part cat.
But a simple thing for that, I saw a teenage client yesterday, and she is having some troubles with her, her whole life is kind of turning upside down, and she's 14. And I noticed she was slumping the whole time she was with me, at the beginning. And just by having her sit up straight, it changed her whole outlook. Because then the pituitary is giving off different things. She was stuck in a slump. And when you show gratitude, when you're looking at those lights or looking at your window or being the cat, you can't help it to look up and look around, and your body's moving, and, gratitude for that, because we can, I don't know, there's so much to see. There's so much more.
Absolutely. And you're right, too, because, when you get into that superhero pose, like if you see how Superman stands or how Wonder Woman stands, when you get into that pose, your physiology shifts that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It shifts automatically. You can't do anything other than being happy.
Absolutely. I've experienced it over and over again. It's so true. And it's so easy. So easy to do.
It is. And speaking of gratitude, I think we should take our commercial break. And then what we can do is start talking to our guest, because I am incredibly grateful that she is here, and she's going to share some wonderful, wonderful stuff with us.
Can we go on? My name is Michelle. I am the beauty boss of A More Beautiful You with Jafra Cosmetics. What is so wonderful about Jafra is that it is an essential business and fits into everyday needs for everyone in your family. Jafra offers over 500 products within 4 departments, and they are, department number 1 is our skincare department with our 5 exclusive Royal Jelly skincare lines powered by our Royal Jelly RJX technology. Number 2 is our on-trend gorgeous color and makeup line, a must-see. Number 3 is our fragrance from the world's top perfumers. And department number 4 is our body care for the entire family. Just added is our daily advanced hand sanitizers in 2 sizes. I invite you to visit my website to see more of A More Beautiful You with Jafra. My website is www.amorebeautiful-u.com. That is www.amorebeautiful-u.com. Thank you, and stay safe and well.
Hello, it's Dr. Vic. Finding the right supplement for your health can be very challenging. After years of research, I finally found the one supplement that made a difference. Fountain of Life, a Norwegian spruce extract. It's simply a game changer. Just 10 drops a day can make all of the difference. For more information, visit myopulence.com/Dr. Vic under health. That's myopulence.com/DRVIC. Fountain of Life is not a cure for any disease or ailment, but simply nature's powerful plant antioxidant. Stay well, my friends.
Welcome to the hemp industry, including new product CBD-based discoveries is here. It is a smart, organic personal care option today. Industrial hemp is one of the fastest growing segments of the wellness industry and is quickly emerging as a lucrative business opportunity for many. This emerging industry strives to create products that are designed to revolutionize the way people care for themselves. These products are well formulated to produce the finest quality of dietary supplements on the market, derived from industrial hemp containing proprietary CBD compounds that help support the body's endocannabinoid system. For more information regarding hemp, nano water soluble CBD, CBD pet care, CBD choices for your complete body, and receive your home delivery, visit The Lifestyle Store at www.createyourholisticlifestyle.com. Once again, The Lifestyle Store. It's at www.createyourholisticlifestyle.com. Health is the new wealth.
Health is the new wealth. And of course, we always want to make sure that we are keeping our health top of mind. And so we thank you for joining us today. And to help you in terms of your health, we have a very, very special guest who's going to be with us. We have a personal friend of mine who is like a sister to me. As I was saying earlier, we actually met when we were traveling through Egypt. She was, we were on a tour together, and she was my roommate, and I learned all about what she did and just fell in love with her, of course, and with what she has to offer to the world. We were talking about gratitude earlier and attracting things to you and energy, and that's exactly what Rhoni Groff does. So Rhoni is a Certified Flower Essence Practitioner, creative poet and artist. So she has been working with flower essences now for almost 20 years, and she has done a lot of inner work as well as traveled the world just to help blossom into that practitioner that she is and to become in alignment with truth. So she uses flower essences to journey with people to understand their strengths and wholeness, that it comes from the inside rather than from the outside. And she helps people get to really tap into their inner knowing of themselves. So, Rhoni, I would love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about flower essences, and how you got into that.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, Val, for that beautiful introduction. And I would say all the same things about you. And when I was listening to Dr. Brookh, I wrote down the word gratitude in you. So you asked me about gifts and miracles. It was you. And I just want to say that we also made an essence. We made an essence together, and I use it a lot in the formulas I make. So you're a part of my life all the time. Thank you. And just about myself, it's interesting because I was thinking about this and I thought about my path to flower essences was not a short, like, oh my God, I love this and I'm going to go right into it. No, my path was not a straight line. I was an artist and an art teacher, a wife and a mother. And I was told in my 40s by a psychic to learn from nature. And I didn't understand it. I went around, I think it was about eight or 9 years, asking people, what does it mean? And every time I asked them, they would just shake their head. And then my daughter met this teacher and sent a friend to meet him as well. And they arranged for the teacher to teach in my house, a workshop. He comes to the door, he comes in, he speaks his first line, and I go, I've been looking for you all this time. This is what it means when he was talking about flower essences. And I just, from that moment on, everything else started to slip away in my life in terms of my art, my teaching, and my studio, all that left. And I quickly became a practitioner, and I launched the Gift of the Flowers, where I have my sprays and essences and my therapy explorations online. I launched that in 2006. So it was a quick fit for me, something I'd been looking for, I feel like, my whole life. And the reason why I wanted to tell that longer story is because I wanted people to understand that it doesn't matter the timing. You know, when you find what you really brings you joy or what your life is meant to go in that direction, and you find that direction, it doesn't really matter when it is, but how long it took you to get there. The twists and turns and the little detours, they're all part of the journey. And so I'm here with such gratitude for how long it took me, as opposed to, you know, being kind of upset that it took me, you know, as long as it did. So I just wanted to share that.
Well, they say that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And,
right.
you know,
that's a good point. I forgot.
Yeah. And I think that the same is true with, you know, with divine timing. You didn't attract that to you because it wasn't time for you to give that portion of your gift to the world. You had other gifts that you needed to give to the world at that point in time. So for people who maybe haven't heard of essences before and don't know about flower, the gift of the flowers, tell people a little bit about what they are.
Okay, great. So I just want to start with the idea of a flower. And I love this analogy that flower begins, whether it begins from a bush, a tree, or a plant, starts with a seed planted in the earth. And the seed has somewhat of a blueprint to follow, and when the right conditions, it grows up into what it's supposed to be. And I always like to say that, let's say a dandelion pops up, and it just becomes its best dandelion. It doesn't look over at the rose, which is taller and so beautiful, and say, oh, I wish I was a rose. No, it just follows its own blueprint, becomes that which it's meant to be. And I like to use that analogy because we, in our lives, kind of look at things, compare, contrast, and, you know, sometimes we're jealous, sometimes we're pleased, sometimes we want more. But in the natural world, there are times when, you know, trees might be in competition with each other for land and water and things like that, but there is not the same mind. And so we think of plants and trees and shrubs in my world of studies as having a higher concentration of like a higher energy, a higher vibration. And there's a life force in all of us. And when it comes to flowers, the life force of the plant, the tree, or the shrub puts all its energy, all that life force energy into creating a flower. So now the flower is housing that consciousness and that life force. And when you go to make a flower essence, you have to have a way to communicate. You sit down in the place where you are, you communicate with nature, and you communicate with the flower and the tree or the shrub or the plant, and you ask permission. You know, we don't begin without that. So there's prayer, there's intention, there's connection. And then you take the flower. Most of the times you do cut it, and you put in different aspects of the flower that you're guided to do. And sometimes you just place it by it. If a tree or a shrub or a plant, if they don't have enough flowers or you can't access it from the high tree, you can put it nearby as well with intention. And you put it in water, really pure water, in a clear bowl. And traditionally it's done in sunlight. And it stays there for, again, traditionally for 2 hours. But again, you're testing all the time when it's supposed to be there. And some people make it in moonlight. And at the end of this thing, the flower has imprinted its particular healing imprint into the water. And in Stuttgart, Germany, they did a test about a year or two ago about this, and they saw that there was a certain design to the imprinting of every flower, and it was different for every flower. And they saw that every molecule of the water was imprinted with it. And then we go on to put that into, let's say, brandy and water to preserve it. And that becomes the mother by which we then go and make flower essences for you to take as a remedy. Usually it's either stock if it's more physical, and its dosage goes down, sort of potentized the way homeopathy gets potentized by getting more and more reduced, becomes more potent at times. And this is the medicine of flower essences. And I really believe it has, so ability to go into the body when you take it in. You want me to tell you how you take it? Or?
Yeah. Well, and I'd love to say for people who have never been exposed to it, it might be that they're kind of wondering, okay, what kind of things would I treat with that? What type of experience can I expect?
Right. Okay, that's a very good question. Thank you. So one of the things that I have to say is sometimes you feel nothing when you first take it, and sometimes you can go anywhere up the spectrum into feeling a lot. What happens is you come to a practitioner and they put together an essence for you. It should have something in there that kind of grounds you, that keeps you connected. And if there's anything that's going to stir something up emotionally, there usually is a balance in there. And so that's number one, is to have not just maybe, you could actually go to a store. They used to sell flower essences in the supermarket, like Whole Foods and things like that, but I don't know if they do anymore. But what we use it for is for your emotional health. And emotional health, kind of affects everything. So it indirectly starts to work on other things, but it's basically you deal with your emotions and where you are in the moment. And it's used for calming the mind, calming behaviors, anger management, depression, anxiety, sadness, grief, shame, irritability, fears, lingering trauma from particular incidents or events that have happened. If you're going through a divorce, harsh words that are said either by you and you want to stop, or to you and you're very sensitive. And then non-serving, my thing is, I think is so important, is the non-serving beliefs and stories that we hold on to. It helps really, and that's part of the therapy that goes along with taking an essence. And that's to get really into what is going on in your mind, what is going on in your subconscious mind. That's where we can actually have hopes, dreams, and prayers, but they don't manifest our desire. And a lot of times I have found underneath that is, what are we saying to ourselves in relationship to the hopes, dreams, and prayers we have? And so when you get to that little part underneath, that little nugget that tells you, you have to be willing to really look inside of these things too. When you get there, you kind of say it in consciousness of like, I want to hear what I'm saying to myself in relationship to all these things. And then you can make the changes. I would caution that, we take a long time to develop and to get where we are. And we've had a lot of things along the way, that stories we create or things that really happen, events that really happen to us, and they pile on. And I like to think about it as a backpack filled with it, and we can unpack it. And so you would take the flower essences, let's say, along with the therapy that came along with it, the awareness. What I love about it is you're sitting there talking to me, and we're coming up with things, and things come out about it, and we talk about it. But then you're given this remedy, excuse me, and the remedy goes in this high vibration. It has, it acts like a cake beater. You're making a cake and you're holding a beater in your hand, or you're beating something. If you lift up the beater with its high vibration, it throws the cake all over the place, the cake batter all over the place. I like to think of flower essences that way. It goes in and stirs up the lower vibration. It kind of throws out into your consciousness some of the things. Or you might, let's say if you get angry all the time, you might get a little bit more angry. If you're sensitive, you might get a little more sensitive. But it's not happening because it's irritating you, or it's happening because it's trying to show you something. And so I say at those moments, we look straight at it, kind of say, what's happening right now? Why is my reaction like this? Where is it coming from? And if it's coming from the past, a lot of times it's hard to dig that out. So that's why I think it's also so important to have somebody there that can help point you in the direction that you might be, is this possibly happening? That possibly. Just showing awareness helps to really unearth these things. And when I have to say, just from having gone through it myself, that when we do that, we lighten our load. So if you think again about the backpack, unpacking it, just think what it would feel like if you took a heavy backpack off your back, how much else, how much better you might feel, or how strong and straight you might stand.
Absolutely.
And that is the power of flower essences.
Wow. And you actually have some flower essences that you have developed more recently.
Absolutely. Especially in 2020, in 2021, they really wanted to talk, the flowers. And it was made mostly in our garden. My daughter and I both make essences. And also ones that I had made around the world and in Egypt all came back to talk about this time, really about the fear and about going inside ourselves. And I just, from I think the end of 2019, the message just kept coming to me about how it's an inner job. We have to go inside. We have to go inside. And I really, until this started to unfold in what it was, I didn't really understand it. But one morning in a meditation I got 5 new sprays that were all called the IM, called Interact IM, and they were all about going inside, learning your truth and trust there, learning your worthiness, being more courageous, more calm, and more fully present and grounded, all came from inside. And I was really told that it's an inside act, and to figure it all out. Go inside to figure it all out, which I thought was really cute. And I knew it really wasn't coming completely from me, because I was going to call it my inner GPS system when I was thinking about it before these sprays came. So I laughed when they gave me a different name, and I understood that it was because I wasn't really doing this completely from my mind. I really was getting, this information.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so with that, if someone feels like some type of fear, or let's say they were not feeling confident, how could they take the sprays, and what would they expect from that?
Okay, that's a great question again. So one of the things I just want to say that the first 4 sprays I made clearing first, and then came self-love. And after self-love came fear not, because I was told, I could see where you have to kind of learn to forgive yourself and forgive others, and really center in your heart. And then when fear comes to block any of that, the fear of in my spray is about fear of, it's actually fear of death is in there, fear of living, because you're afraid of strong personalities, or afraid of stepping forward. You might have made past mistakes. It's got things to make you feel more comfortable. Also, fear of losing your sense of self if you change too much. And then it has things like Archangel, which is like the angels go around you and just hold you and say, you're safe, because you are, because your soul is safe. And you see, from a really deep place, you start to feel the safety. And so there's always a balance in my sprays that in one way feed you what you want to release, but also there always is something in there that's going to make you feel more comfortable in your own body. And I've been adding this one called Bermudiana that I made in Bermuda a while ago that just appeared again, that I'm ready to be used. And she's all about anti-anxiety, all about centering. And so I find that I sometimes put that into things. If someone contacted me and said, I really want this, and this is what I'm going through, and they want to spray. But I would say that the other one that comes after fear not was I am enough, which kind of goes along with what you're saying, because fear blocks that. So you have to kind of center in yourself, and then you have to be able to look, because one of the things I learned about fear is if you look straight on at any fear, sometimes it vaporizes. It's not real. It doesn't have a lot of stuff behind it. It has a lot of control over us, but it doesn't have a lot of stuff behind it. Now, there are real fears. You teach a child not to run out into a street, look both ways before they cross, and things like that. There are real fears that exist in the world, but we make it much more about, I'm talking much more about the ones we make in our mind that keep repeating and we can't get that to stop. And so fear not is one of the ones I think, and I am courageous builds on that, but it comes out of an inner journey with I am courageous. You start to feel, it's meant to make you feel really solid inside of you. And I just want to say there's essential oils in all the sprays, which match up, and the essential oils of those 5 new Interact sprays, all of them are a lot of trees, a lot of grounding, have a lot to do with just feeling comfortable in your body, which I think in these times are really important.
Yeah, I would agree completely. Yeah. Dr. Brookh, did you have something you wanted to say?
Oh, I'm just breathing. I just love everything that you're saying here, because it's so funny, our relationship with flowers and plants, that we don't even think about it. Like, we might eat them, but we're not even thinking about that being a plant that we're eating. But the flowers, I mean, as a kid, my sister and I used to gather any flower that we could, and we would put it in water and, use some kind of old spray bottle or something and use it as perfume. But I grew up and I hate perfume, and I could never figure out, I used to love that so much, but it's no longer the essence of the flowers. It's all these chemicals. So what you're offering is just so different. I don't know. You're making me smile.
Your story is making me smile. I love it.
And it starts to shift people on that emotional and that energetic level. And that is what I really love about that too. Because, you know, as you're talking, I'm thinking, you know, a lot of times there are things that we can't access because we just don't have the self-awareness to get there. Maybe we've had some trauma when we were young and we just, we've forgotten that trauma. And so it can help in terms of just releasing a lot of those patterns. And it's not in a way that brings up bad memories or, you know, that's going to send you running to your therapist. It's in a gentle way where your energy and frequency and thought patterns just start to shift.
Mm-hmm. You know, I want to tell you that it's interesting because if you were going to a therapist, a flower essence or the flower essence sprays can actually speed up the process because it brings to the surface that which is really bothering you. And you're right about not remembering things, and you don't have to live through it again, but you do have to release it. You have to let it go. And I feel that because the sprays have, number one, all the different essences that support all of that, but they also have the essential oils, which kind of also opens up as well into the memory, but not necessarily to live it through it again. I feel like it's really about the courage to look straight at it, you know, and to really say, okay, what can I do about this? Or to reach out. And, you know, it's interesting because there are ways, I ask people when they come to me, how do you express yourself when something is troubling you? Do you know, what kind of relief do you need? As opposed, you know, do you find yourself being snippy at everybody? Do you find yourself, you know, being teary or whatever it would be? And it's interesting because I found that someone told me to scream. And so in my car one time I did. It was so much fun to let that energy out just like that. And I remember I drove past my street because I was so excited about screaming. But the interesting thing about it is I once got really angry at someone. And it was righteous anger. I was right. I really wanted to stay there and argue with them. But I had to go do some work downstairs in my flower essence area. And so as I came downstairs, I couldn't really, I could feel the energy pulsating through me. And I go, but I couldn't express it in any way. I didn't have any time. And about 20 minutes later, I realized, wow, I'm kind of relaxing. And about a half an hour later, it was gone. And even the righteousness of it was gone. Oh, wow. But I realized that, you know, our emotions are like our guidance system. And they're not bad. They're only bad when they're out of control. Mm-hmm. So, like, anger is good. It moves things, and it wants us to make change. It tells us that this is not right, you know. And our sadness is something that we have to, you know, like, let's see what's making me sad. Something's telling me I need to look at this, you know, as opposed to when we're taught very young to push it down. It's really helpful when it's not out of control. So, yeah, and I appreciate the way you made your essences. I used to take perfume bottles and pour all the perfume into a sink and then fill them back up together.
So fix it, right?
Right. When you said perfume, now, one of the things I like to say about the sprays, you smell them when you first put them on. They have about anywhere from like 4 to 6 oils in there, but it does not linger. And I tell people it's not like a perfume. It's only meant for you to smell it, get the olfactory stimulation, and then it goes away. And I find that to be better because, like you say, a lot of people can't really tolerate perfume anymore.
Mm. Yeah.
And they also use it,
And then it's it's there and it's gone too. I mean, I feel like a lot of the times we'd go back and it was putrid, you know, because we left it in the sun. but we no longer need it probably. Like what you said earlier, I even wrote it down because this is exactly, it's to find words sometimes. When you said it's not trying to hurt you. It's just trying to show you something. I always say to people, like, you'll have these gentle knocks and, oh, yeah, I should do this. And then you didn't do it. So you'll have a little harder knock. And then eventually it's smacking you in the head. Like, get this thing done. And I just, the flowers are such a beautiful reminder that as I look at the flowers in my office right now, they're just such a, like, they're peace. They seem like peace to me.
And I'd be interested to see about I'd be interested to see about how the flowers that you gravitate towards, the smell of them, what they give off, the frequency that they resonate at, how that matches what you're going through and how that shifts your own frequency. So we hear about tree bathing and how important that is now, just for that reason. When you get exposed to the trees, you pull in some of their frequencies, and it actually extends life expectancy. There are books on that.
Do you ever I hug the trees in my backyard all the time. When you go into the garden or you go into you take a walk around trees and plants, you know how peaceful it can be, and how much you feel relaxed because you're connecting, and also you're getting more oxygen, but you're connecting, and there is something to be said for that. I also want to say that flowers give you a doctrine of signature. They show you what they do. So there's this borage plant. It probably grows really nicely up in Toronto because it dies here in July. But it has this look of it hangs its head. It's purple, so we know it's for the higher mind. And it hangs its head, and it needs support when it grows, at least here. And so it's all about depression, but it's like clearing depression, clearing sadness, and making you feel more hopeful and stronger to move through it and not to be so affected by it. And so you look at that, and we call it doctrine of signatures. Sometimes it's by hanging its head that it tells you what it does. Sometimes it's by staying up straight that it tells you what it does. So when you are in the garden and you're smelling a flower or loving a flower, you can look at it and you kind of follow the kind of the energy, the chakra system of the body. But it tells you like where in the body it wants to go or what it's doing. Sometimes by its color or look. I know that we found teasel.
That is so crazy and so cool.
I know, but if you look at if you look at the teasel plant, the thistle that comes up on the teasel plant, it looks like a spirochete under the microscope. In some ways, it resembles that.
That is just so fascinating. Absolutely.
You use it for lines. Yeah.
So, Dr. Brookh, I'm curious now, what flowers do you have in your office?
Okay, so because I do some upcycle art, I have been rusting cans. And so when I sell them at art shows, they just sell by themselves. But last weekend I said to my girlfriend, why don't we just go buy some plants and we'll just make some Mother's Day, cans of flowers. But I mean, out here, it's been so cold that they're not doing all the regular flowers yet, or they weren't last week anyway. So it's just marigolds and then some greenery. And then there's one here that I don't even know what it's called. Here, let me look. It is called a portulaca.
So do you know about
portulacas?
What's that?
Yeah, we have them at the shore, Jersey. We have them at the shore, at the beach.
Yeah.
They can go they can get salt water on them and still live.
Really?
They're very hard.
Well, and then somebody just brought me an orchid last week as a thank you. So she's this beautiful white with purple-ish kind of bright pink on the inside. So that's my current flowers. I like flowers, so they usually are around me.
Well, that's absolutely fascinating. We're going to head into a break now, and then we'll come back. And I would love to hear more about the flowers, Rhoni, and some of your experiences with them.
Okay, great. I'd love to tell you.
Hey there, Detox Jenny here. Is your digestion poor, painful, or just plain stuck? If so, please consider doing a short 3 to 10 day juice cleanse with my company, Earthly Juices. You can visit us at bringmejuice.com. You will be surprised what a difference a short cleanse can make within your body and your overall well-being. Our organic farm-to-table juice cleanses are handcrafted to exclude your allergies and geared towards solving your health issues. Call 310-404-6804 and mention this show and receive a free quart of juice with your first order. You can also find us at www.bringmejuice.com, or you could write us your detox questions at earthlyjuices@gmail.com. We can't wait to bring that juice to your doorstep.
I tell myself again and again, I'm happy about my favorite juice from Jen. I tell myself again and again, well, Earthly Juices, they make the best juice cleanse.
Hi, this is Dr. Nathan Rabb Jr., host of The Natural Way, which you can hear live on InnerLightRadio.com every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On The Natural Way, you will learn about alternative strategies to common medical practices to overcome some of the most common physical and mental maladies in the world today. The program is a live call-in show, so you can engage me by calling 310-928-7733 with your health-related questions. For private consultations, please call my office. That's at 310-419-4372. You can also reach me on the web at Dr. Dr. Nathan, Nathan, Rabb, Rabb.com. Be sure to tune in to The Natural Way every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific and 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, live on InnerLightRadio.com. The Healing Frequency. I'm Dr. Nathan Rabb. We see you on the air. Peace.
Historically, our ancestors lived 100% organic and natural, simply grazing off the green earth with fresh fruits and vegetables and blue oceans filled with seafood. Allowing your mind, body, and soul to be naturally healthy is how we were meant to live during this journey of our lives. We invite you to visit The Lifestyle Store. Once again, The Lifestyle Store, for all of your family's health and wellness needs. Simply click on The Lifestyle Store at www.createyourholisticlifestyle.com. Once again, www.createyourholisticlifestyle.com. Keep this in mind. Health is the new wealth.
Health is the new wealth, and we are here today talking to Rhoni Groff, Gift of the Flowers. And just having a fantastic conversation. Dr. Brookh, do you have any questions or comments at this point?
Well, at the break, I was talking to my husband, and I said, I didn't know we have, there's so much we're missing about flowers. This is a whole, I feel like I just walked onto a different part of the planet, a different realm. I'm very excited, actually.
Well, I was blown away as well. And, one of the things that I was blown away with as we were making essences when we were traveling through Egypt together and visiting a lot of the sacred sites there was when you were telling me about what the essences could do and the shifts that it's made in people's lives. I would love for you to talk about that and talk about the power to change and how people can transform themselves through flower essences.
Great. Thank you. Well, one of the things I want to say is that one of the things I really believe, I'm going to say this about myself, but I absolutely 100% believe it's about everybody. If everyone wants to take the time to do it, maybe in different ways. So I believe that we all have the ability to communicate with the plants and the trees. And they're waiting for us, that, whether somebody likes water, whether someone likes to be in the mountains, it doesn't really matter. But it's our own ability to understand that we can communicate. So you have to find your way. And you can look up kinesiology. It's about the fact that, certain energies affect us in a certain way, and we can test that vibration of the energy. And so so at some point we can learn to, I say that, I'll just give you this as a way you don't need a visual. But if I want to see whether something is, I want to communicate with something, I have to find a way to say yes and no. And so what I do sometimes is, I know how to do it otherwise, but what you could do is to take your hand and put it by your heart, let's say, and imagine that flower or something is in there, and you could say to this, I'm going to do it from something you're eating just because it's easier if I say, I want to have this ice cream. Well, I can maybe put the idea of the ice cream in my hand and say, is this for my highest healing, highest good? Maybe I might go forward if it's yes and back. If it's no, I have to find that out. And it would tell me. So if I can communicate that way, then I can communicate even further with other things. Like you go in to see a flower, I want to pick you. Is it okay? I feel like before we cut things, we should tell them so they can move their energy back and allow it to go. They can even show you actually with your eye, just kind of you move towards something and feel that plant's saying, okay, sure, take this. And it starts to develop a relationship and a sensitivity for everyone to have when they're in nature, when they're in the environment that they really want to communicate with. And so that's one way to start it. And I do believe that we all can. It's just we haven't been taught that. We haven't even known that. So for me, I feel like I can go and talk to the plants and flowers. I asked them if I can make an essence. And so when I was making white pine, we have these huge white pines. They've been here for 40 years now, I think it's been. And they're a part of our family. They've watched my children grow. And they make medicine with us. And they tell us. And my grandson was making a medicine with us. He was 7 years old at the time. And we, put it together. And it starts to tell me, I start to look at it. I look at the energy that I see going in there. And it starts to tell me what it's about. But you can take it. So if you wanted to do this at home and you wanted to have a plant and you put it into water and with reverence and left it there for as ever long as it needs to be, and then you sipped a little bit of it, you could then sit with it. And it's sort of, for me anyway, the answer kind of comes up as if I'm hearing something but there are no words. I just know what to write. And then I go on, and a lot of times a flower will talk to you about personal things or a plant. And then you go beyond that, what is the medicine? And then you give it to other people to try so that you see what they bring into it as well. But it starts with that reverence for where you are, that caring, that connection. You probably know if you sit in your garden, you feel more connected anyway. So that also brings me to the idea of when we connect with ourselves, because we do have the power to change. We've learned through neural pathways and things like that we can change the brain at any age. So what's our excuse if we aren't going to really take the time to make changes in ourselves if we don't like what's going on? It has to be from that. And so also the negative self-talk. I just want to say one thing about that, because we are mostly water, or not mostly, but a large part water and mostly energy. And so flower essences are made in water, and it's an energy transfer from the flower to the water to us. So we already have that energy, the water part, like that's in our bodies already. And so we can use these remedies to help us understand that it takes time, that we might take a step backward, be a little negative sometimes. We can forgive ourselves. We can still move forward, help us to look at things when they come up and really look them straight at them. Because this is our body. Our body is, 60-some% water, and the cells are at the quantum level 99%, energy. And why wouldn't this be feeding us? We give it, carbon dioxide. It gives us oxygen. We already have a relationship. And so just keep all of that in your mind as saying, I do have a relationship already. All I need to do is open up to it and relax in each moment and accept. Maybe you went out there one day and you had this amazing experience. Maybe the next time you went, you didn't feel as connected. Well, that's okay. The next time after that, it'll probably be, perfect again. It's what we do with our mind that really is something I want to leave everyone with, that you change your mind, you can change your life, because it's what's controlling. It's like not outward things that are controlling us. It is our inner dialogue. And, and our completeness can be found in knowing ourselves inside, finding self-love, finding confidence, that inner connection to the fullness of who you really are. And it's found inside.
Absolutely. So if people want to get a hold of you and they want to use, let's say, order some essences, how would they get a hold of you? How would they work with you? And how would they learn how to either create or use the essences? If you could just give us your contact information and give that to us twice so that people have a chance to write it down, that would be great.
Okay. And do you want, because if they go on my website, you're going to be able to email me, and then I can send you all the information. So it's giftoftheflowers.com, flowers with an S. So giftoftheflowers.com, and on there you can email me. You can read all about what a therapy session looks like. You can read about the flowers again and about the sprays and the essences and what they mean. I put on there every ingredient, what I've gotten from it, what it says to me, and all the essential oils are listed as well. And so it's that from that place we can be in touch with each other, which would be wonderful.
Wonderful. Dr. Brookh, do you have any final comments?
I just want to say thank you, because I didn't know what I didn't know. And so every day on this show, it seems like we uncover something. Or today, it's not even, the uncovering is magical, but it's also putting so much together for me about why I love working with plants. You've given me some great ideas, because there's some plants that I harvest off of every year. And I talk to them, but I've never talked to them about permission. And so I think I love that. I'm going to be adopting that as well. So thank you for taking the time with us today.
You're welcome. And you can always write me about a plant. And if I have any information, I can send it to you. So everybody's information is going to be for them in some ways. But it's nice. I always like to hear what other people get from it. So if you ever need that at all, feel free to write me.
Thank you.
We can talk about plants all the time.
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so,
thank you.
Yeah, and I on that note too, I would love to, see how when people are gravitating towards a certain plant, what that means for them and why they're gravitating towards that plant in each moment. And knowing that you can shift those energies and just heal using something so gentle and non-invasive is wonderful.
Oh, thank you. And one last thing is it's made in water and it's housed in water, and we have so much water. And Dr. Emoto, I just want to leave one thing. He put on positive words on bottles and found these beautiful crystals that formed in the water. And I actually went in person to hear him, and I understood flower essences even more from his perspective. And he was saying all the positive words and all the kind things brought beautiful crystals to the water, and all the negative emotions and all the negative words and even the harsh music brought like disjointed crystals. So it's sort of like I leave people with like, what is the crystals you want to create in your water in your body? How do you want to brighten your inside with positive statements?
Brighten your inside. I love that. And then you'll attract something completely different and new. Well, thank you again.
Right, exactly.
Thank you again, Rhoni, for being here. We'll definitely post your information on our website. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Brookh, for being here. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today.
Thank you, Dr. Val. I really appreciate it.
Great day.
Love you.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Lots of love.
Thank you for joining us on the Create Your Holistic Lifestyle Show. We are a globally hosted show dedicated to sharing holistic lifestyle events, practitioners, products and services, and useful information. Visit our website, createyourholisticlifestyle.com. Once again, createyourholisticlifestyle.com. Of course, our Facebook page is Create Your Holistic Lifestyle Show. We will see you next week.
Namaste.